Tell my boyfriend I'm single this weekend. Vegas edition, my girlfriend said, on Instagram Live while making out with another guy. I stayed silent, canceled her flight home, and let the fallout hit. By Monday, her friends' group chat exposed everything they'd planned behind my back. Hey Reddit, long story short, my girlfriend went live on Instagram in Vegas making out with some random guy while her friends cheered. I didn't yell, didn't chase, I just canceled her flight home. But that was only the start. Let me back up. I'm Cole, 30 years old. Let me start by saying I'm not the kind of guy who loses his cool. I'm an aviation safety inspector. My whole job is staying calm when everything else goes sideways. Panic kills people. Discipline saves them. That mindset carried me through situations most people would break under. It carried me through what happened with Cecilia too, at least on the outside. Cecilia and I had been together almost 4 years. One-bedroom apartment in the city, bills split down the middle, routines locked in. I worked odd hours because of inspections. She worked a steady 9 to 5 at a boutique fitness chain. We talked about marriage, maybe a house outside the city, just normal future stuff you assume you're building toward. She was always big on social media. Not an influencer, just constantly posting outfits, brunch, sunsets with quotes. I didn't think much of it. What I didn't see was how much she needed it. The validation, the attention, the metrics should have been a sign. Her 3 best friends from college were the same way. Grace, the self-appointed leader, everything she did was wrapped in empowerment talk, even when it was pure selfishness. Aurora, the aesthetic one, everything curated and filmed like her whole life was an audition. And Becca, the quiet follower, fine one-on-one, but turned into a different person around the other two. About 6 weeks before everything blew up, Cecilia told me they were planning a Vegas trip. Long weekend, staying at the Cosmopolitan, something Grace arranged through her event contacts. She asked if I was cool with it. I said, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I be? I trusted her. And I had a 3-day inspection rotation in Denver that same weekend anyway. Then came the comments. You're not going to be weird about me going, right? I just need you to trust me and not blow up my phone. I'd never done that before, so why would I start now? She just smiled and said she was making sure we were on the same page. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 hit when she suddenly went into crash diet mode, buying new club outfits we couldn't afford, obsessing over how she'd look next to her friends. Said she didn't want to be the schlubby one. Red flag number 3 landed the week before the trip. Phone always tilted away, leaving the room to text, flinching when I walked by. I'm not a paranoid guy, so I didn't confront her. But trust me, I noticed. The Wednesday before the trip, I used my airline points, almost 300,000 from work travel, to book her round-trip flight. Cost me 60,000 points, money she didn't have. I drove her to the airport Thursday morning, helped with her bag, kissed her goodbye. She kept talking about how she needed this break, how fun it'd be. I told her to be safe, watched her roll her suitcase through the sliding doors, already picturing picking her up Sunday with flowers. Maybe taking her to that Italian place she loved. I flew to Denver that afternoon. Friday was normal. Safety audits, paperwork, interviewing mechanics. By the time I got back to my hotel that night, I just wanted food and sleep. My phone had barely buzzed all day. That was about to change. Around 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. in Vegas, my phone started going insane. Text after text coming in rapid fire. I picked it up expecting some work emergency, maybe an incident report I needed to review. Instead, I had messages from 5 different people, all saying basically the same thing. Dude, you need to see this. Check Instagram right now. Bro, I'm so sorry. My stomach dropped before I even clicked it. Someone had sent me a link to an Instagram Live, Aurora's account. I clicked it and there they were. The 4 of them in what looked like some VIP section at a club. Bottle service, velvet ropes, the whole setup. Music pounding in the background, lights flashing. Aurora was holding the phone, narrating like she was hosting a show. And here we have Cecilia absolutely living her best life, Aurora was saying, swinging the camera around. Tonight's energy is unmatched. The camera focused on Cecilia. She was dancing with some guy I'd never seen before, his hands on her waist, both of them clearly wasted. She was wearing this dress I'd never seen, something short and tight that she must have bought specifically for this trip. The guy was tall, fitted shirt, looked like every other club dude in Vegas. Didn't matter who he was. What mattered was what happened next. Cecilia pulled back from the guy for a second, looked right at the camera, and said it. Clear as day, loud enough to be heard over the music. I'm off the clock and off the leash. Don't care who's watching. Aurora laughed behind the camera. That's right, girl. No rules in Vegas. Then Cecilia turned back to the guy, and they started making out. Full on, hands everywhere, her body pressed against his, while he grabbed her like she was his. And Aurora kept filming. kept the camera steady, kept narrating. This is what freedom looks like, people. This is choosing yourself. Grace's voice came from off camera. What happens in Vegas, right? They all laughed. Cecilia pulled away from the guy long enough to grab a drink, take a sip, go right back to kissing him. The live kept going. Aurora panned around to show the club, the bottles, their table, then back to Cecilia, and this random dude all over each other. I watched for maybe 2 minutes before I had to stop. My hands were shaking. Not from anger yet, just shock and disbelief in something I couldn't name. This was my girlfriend, the woman who slept in my bed every night, and she was on Instagram Live making out with some stranger while her friends narrated it like entertainment. The live chat was scrolling fast, most people cheering her on, dropping fire emojis, but some were questioning it. Wait, doesn't she have a boyfriend? This is wild. I checked the viewer count. 347 people watching, probably half our mutual friends. I recognized names in the chat, people I worked with, people we'd had dinner with. I closed the app and just sat there on the hotel bed, phone in my hand, trying to process what I'd just seen. Part of me wanted to call her right then, scream until my throat gave out, tell her exactly what I thought of her and her friends and this whole situation. Book a flight to Vegas and confront them in person, make a scene. But that's what they wanted. That's what Grace's comment about control was about. They wanted me to blow up so Cecilia could play victim. So I didn't call, didn't text, didn't comment on the live. Instead, I opened my airline account and pulled up Cecilia's reservation. Stared at it for maybe 30 seconds. Then I thought about her saying, "I'm off the clock tonight," and clicked cancel. The confirmation came through immediately. Booking canceled, points refunded, no ticket. I opened my phone's notes app and started making a list. Shared Netflix account, gone. Spotify family plan she was on, removed. Her name on my car insurance, call Monday to take her off. The gym membership we split, cancel my half. Every single thing tied to my name or my money, cut off. She wanted to be off the clock? She could stay off the clock. Then I booked a flight home for Saturday morning, the earliest seat I could get, cutting my Denver trip short by a day. Inspections are scheduled tight, but emergencies happen. I documented my handoff, notified the lead, and got clearance. Sent my supervisor a message about a family emergency, which wasn't exactly a lie. Around midnight, my phone started ringing. Cecilia's number. I let it ring out once. Then I blocked it. Calls from different numbers followed. Blocked those too. Stopped answering entirely. Sleep didn't come easy that night. I landed back home Saturday afternoon and went straight to my apartment. First thing I did was install the Ring camera I'd ordered for next day delivery. I'd been meaning to get one for months because of my work hours and irregular schedule. This just made it urgent. Set it up pointing at the front door, tested the app, made sure the motion alerts were working. Then I changed the lock on my home office where I kept all my work equipment and files. Cecilia still had a key to the apartment, and her name was on the lease, so I couldn't change the main locks without legal issues. The lease would take time to sort out legally, but emotionally, already done. Still, I could protect my space. My phone had been on airplane mode the whole flight. When I turned it back on, I had 47 missed calls and probably 60 text messages. Most from Cecilia, some from Aurora and Grace, a few from numbers I didn't recognize. I scrolled through the texts without opening them, just reading the previews. From what I could piece together, declined charges, panicked messages, I can't book a flight. Her card had started failing and she'd burned through whatever cushion she had. Cole, please answer. This isn't funny. You can't just abandon me here. I need to talk to you. Why would you do this? Not a single one said sorry. Not one acknowledged what she'd done. Just anger and panic about being stuck. I deleted them all without responding. Saturday night, I got a call from an unknown number I didn't block fast enough. Grace. Cole, we need to talk about this like adults. There's nothing to talk about. You left Cecilia stranded. That's not okay. She put herself on Instagram Live making out with some random guy. She was just having fun. You're being controlling. Good luck getting home. Blocked that number too. Sunday morning, I woke up to an email from Cecilia. Long message, 7 paragraphs about mistakes and being drunk. Everything except taking responsibility. Didn't respond. Just started going through the apartment, gathering her stuff. Went to the store and bought moving boxes, packing tape, markers. Spent Sunday afternoon carefully packing her clothes, her shoes, her bathroom stuff, all of it. Made a list of what went in each box. Labeled them clearly. By Sunday night, I had everything packed. 12 boxes total, stacked neatly in the living room. Took a photo of the inventory list for my records, then sat down and waited to see what would happen next. Monday morning, I was back at work when I got a call from a local number. Patricia, Cecilia's mother. Cole? Cecilia called me this morning. She's very upset. I imagine so. She told me what happened in Vegas. Told me you canceled her flight. I waited for the lecture. Instead, Patricia said, she also told me why you canceled it. Did she tell you the whole story? She told me enough. And frankly, Cole, I'm disappointed in her, not you. Her voice was tired. This is a pattern with Cecilia. I was hoping she'd outgrown it, but apparently not. What do you mean a pattern? Patricia sighed. She's done things before that cost her relationships. I'm not excusing her. I'm telling you, don't let her rewrite reality. I sat there processing this. I appreciate you telling me. She called asking me to wire money for a flight home. I told her no. She made this mess. She can figure out how to clean it up. We talked for a few more minutes. Patricia said Cecilia's younger sister Mia could tell me more if I ever wanted to hear it. Before we hung up, Patricia said one more thing. Whatever you decide to do, Cole, don't take her back just because she apologizes. An apology from Cecilia usually just means she's sorry she got caught. That hit different. Tuesday afternoon, Cecilia showed up at my workplace. Security called me down, and there she was, suitcase next to her, mascara smudged. She'd somehow gotten home. She came to my work on purpose. Public place, witnesses, somewhere I couldn't just shut the door. She started crying the second she saw me. Real tears. Part of me felt bad. 4 years together, you don't just turn feelings off. But then I remembered Aurora's narration and that dress I'd never seen before. Cole, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. I know. Can we please talk? 5 minutes? People were staring. I gestured toward the doors. Outside. We walked out to the parking lot. She started explaining immediately. It was a mistake. A stupid, drunk mistake that meant nothing. I was caught up in the moment, and the girls were hyping me up, and I made a bad choice. You made several bad choices. You chose to go to that club, chose to dance with him, chose to kiss him, chose to do it on camera, chose to say you were off the clock. I was drunk. I didn't know what I was saying. You knew exactly what you were saying. And Aurora knew what she was doing when she went live. You wanted an audience. She grabbed my arm. Please, we can work through this. 4 years, Cole. We have 4 years together. Don't throw that away over one night. I pulled my arm back. You threw it away? Not me. What you did was cruel. Her voice shifted, getting defensive. Leaving me stranded in Vegas with no way home, no money, nothing. I could have been hurt. You had 3 friends there. You were fine. Those weren't real friends. She was crying harder now. Grace ditched me when I couldn't pay my share of the hotel suite. Aurora was too busy filming everything. Becca felt bad, but had no money to help. I was alone. Should have thought about that before you decided to be off the clock. Why do you keep saying that? Because that's what you said. On camera. To hundreds of people. Right before you kissed him. She went pale. Hadn't realized how many people had watched. Cole, please. I love you. I want to come home. The apartment isn't your home anymore. I packed your stuff. You can pick it up this week. You packed my stuff. She repeated it like she couldn't believe it. You're really doing this. Yeah, I'm really doing this. She tried a different angle. Softer, more vulnerable. I can't go back to Grace's. Please. I just need somewhere safe to figure things out. That's not my problem anymore. Cole, we're done, Cecilia. You can pick up your things Friday. I'll be at work. Building Super will let you in. Take everything and leave your key. I walked back inside without waiting for a response. Didn't look back, just kept moving forward. Same way I handled failed inspections. Document the failure, file the report, move on to the next site. That night, I sat in my apartment, surrounded by her boxes, and felt almost nothing. Just this hollow quiet where anger and sadness should have been. 4 years reduced to 12 cardboard boxes and a key that would be returned Friday. My phone buzzed. Text from Becca. Can we talk? There's stuff you should know about Vegas. I stared at that message for a long time before responding. Like what? Not over text? Tomorrow? Coffee? Against my better judgment, I said yes. Wednesday afternoon, I met Becca at a coffee shop near my place. She looked nervous, wouldn't make eye contact at first. I need to show you something, she said, pulling out her phone. The group chat, from before Vegas. She handed it over and I started scrolling. Messages from weeks ago, right after Cecilia had asked me about the trip. Grace was running the show, like always. This is your weekend. No boyfriends, no rules, no guilt. Cecilia, you need to stop letting Cole control your fun. You're allowed to live. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's like the whole point. Then Cecilia chiming in. I know, you're right. I just don't want him to freak out. Aurora's response. Then don't tell him everything. Simple. Grace again. Actually, you should post it. Own your freedom. If he can't handle you being yourself, that's his problem. And honestly, if he freaks out, we just call it controlling behavior. Easy. Further down, the night of the club. Messages from Aurora to the group while she was filming. Going live in 5. Cecilia, you good? Cecilia's reply. Yeah, let's do it. Content is content. Aurora. Love that energy. This is going to be iconic. I handed the phone back. Felt sick. This wasn't some drunk mistake. This was planned. They'd talked her into it, scripted it, encouraged it, and she'd gone along with all of it. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Becca looked miserable. Because it's not right. I went along with it in Vegas because I didn't know how to say no to them. But watching what happened to you after, that's not okay. Grace is trying to make you out to be this controlling psycho, and it's not true. And worse, they're calling you abusive. You work in aviation safety. If that spreads to the wrong people, it could mess with your career. I couldn't let that happen. What's she saying? That you were emotionally abusive. That you isolated Cecilia from her friends. That you abandoned her in Vegas to punish her for having fun. She's got Aurora posting about it. They're running this whole campaign to make Cecilia look like the victim. I pulled out my own phone and checked Instagram. Sure enough, Aurora had posted this long thing about toxic relationships and men who can't handle strong women. Didn't name me directly, but the subtext was clear. Comments were split, some people buying it, others calling her out for enabling cheating. They're planning something else too, Becca said quietly. They want to go to your apartment Friday when Cecilia picks up her stuff. Grace thinks if they all show up together, they can pressure you into talking it out. That's not happening. I know, that's why I'm telling you. She hesitated. Can I ask what you're going to do? About what? About them trying to trash your name. About people believing their version. I thought about it. Part of me wanted to post those screenshots, let everyone see the group chat, expose exactly how calculated this was, but that felt too much like playing their game, stooping to their level. Nothing, I said finally. Truth doesn't need defending. People who know me know what I'm about. The rest don't matter. Becca nodded. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I should have said something in Vegas. Should have told Cecilia it was a bad idea. I was just scared of them. Yeah. Before she left, she texted me every screenshot from the group chat. I saved them all to a folder called Vegas, just in case. We talked a bit more. She told me Grace was already throwing her under the bus for being weak and not being a real friend. That Aurora was pivoting into some healing era content thing, posting about growth and moving on like she hadn't literally filmed and narrated the whole betrayal. That Cecilia was staying with Grace, which sounded like a terrible idea but not my problem anymore. Thursday morning, I loaded all 12 boxes into my car and drove to Cecilia's parents' house. Patricia had texted me the day before saying I could bring everything there, that they'd make sure Cecilia got it. I pulled up to their place around 10 a.m. Patricia was waiting outside. Cole. She looked sad seeing me. Come on in. You can put the boxes in the garage. I made 3 trips hauling boxes. Her dad Robert helped with the last few. Neither said much, just quiet acknowledgement. When we finished, Patricia invited me in for coffee. Cecilia called last night, Patricia said, pouring coffee. Said you refused to talk to her. That her version? It's the version she's telling herself. Patricia sat down. But Mia has a different version. Cecilia's younger sister walked in. I'd met Mia maybe 5 times. Always got the sense she was the overlooked one. She nodded, poured coffee, sat down. Cecilia did this exact same thing sophomore year of college, Mia said bluntly. Girls trip to Cancun, posted videos with some guy she met at the resort. Her boyfriend at the time lost it. Mom and dad paid for couples therapy, paid for her to fly home when she couldn't afford it, basically smoothed everything over until he took her back. Patricia looked down at her mug. We enabled it. We thought we were helping. Then she did it again with the next boyfriend, Mia continued. Miami trip, same pattern. That guy was smarter. He didn't take her back. But again, Mom and Dad covered her rent for 3 months while she recovered from the heartbreak. Robert spoke up for the first time. We raised a daughter who learned that consequences are negotiable. The bluntness of that hit hard. This family sitting here basically admitting they'd created the problem. Patricia had tears in her eyes. She called asking us to talk to you, Patricia said, to convince you to give her another chance. We told her no. This is on her to fix, if it can even be fixed. It can't, I said. Not mean, just honest. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Actually, multiple choices, all of them deliberate. We know, Robert said. And for what it's worth, you deserve better than what our daughter gave you. That was the last conversation I had with Cecilia's family. They apologized again as I left, said I was welcome any time if I needed to talk. I drove home feeling this weird sense of closure, like I'd finally seen the full picture of who Cecilia really was and where it came from. That night, the smear campaign kicked into full gear. Grace posted on her Instagram about supporting friends through trauma, with the trauma being me apparently. Aurora did a whole story series about recognizing red flags in relationships, strongly implying I was abusive. Cecilia posted a cryptic quote about narcissists making you question your reality. My phone started getting messages from mutual friends asking what was going on, If the stuff they were posting was true, what really happened? I ignored most of them. To the few people I actually cared about, I sent one sentence. If you need to ask if I'm abusive, you don't know me well enough for me to explain. Friday was supposed to be when Cecilia picked up her stuff from the apartment. I'd arranged with the building super to let her in, planned to be at work the whole time. Easy, clean, done. That's not what happened. Friday afternoon, the building super called around 2 p.m. Mr. Cole, we have a situation. Cecilia hadn't come alone. She'd brought Grace, Aurora, and Becca. All four showed up demanding entry. The super asked what this was about, and Grace claimed Cecilia needed to collect important items. I'd already delivered everything to her parents yesterday. They weren't here for belongings. They were here to pressure me. The super refused to let a group up. That's when Grace started going full event planner mode, talking about tenant rights and threatening to call police. The super asked what I wanted him to do. I thought about it. They'd planned this, scripted it. I was tired of them controlling the narrative. Tell them I'll be there in 30 minutes. We can talk in the lobby with witnesses. I left work early and drove home. Called Becca on the way. You still want to do the right thing? What do you mean? Bring the group chat screenshots. All of them. I'm not posting anything online, but I'm not letting them control this in my lobby either. She hesitated. Grace is going to lose it. Good. When I walked into the lobby 20 minutes later, they were all there. They weren't here for boxes. They were here to make a scene. Cecilia looked anxious. Aurora was filming on her phone, of course. Grace had her arms crossed, looking like she was ready for battle. Becca stood slightly apart from them, looking uncomfortable. I gestured to the seating area. Let's talk here. Grace jumped in immediately. We're not doing this in public. This is a private matter between you and Cecilia. Nothing about this has been private. You chose an audience. Aurora kept her phone pointed at me. I'm recording this for protection. Record all of it. We sat down. This weird standoff in my apartment building lobby. The afternoon doorman was trying to look busy while obviously listening. A couple residents walked through, clocked the tension, kept moving. So, what items did you forget? I asked Cecilia directly. She blinked. What? The important items Grace told the super you needed to collect. Name them. Silence. She looked at Grace, who jumped in. That's not the point right now. The point is, you lied to get up here. I looked at the doorman. For the record, Cecilia started crying. Cole, please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But we can fix this. 4 years means something. I love you. You don't love me. You love the stability I provided. Grace cut in. That's not fair. She made a mistake. She's trying to apologize, and you're being vindictive. I'm being clear. There's a difference. You abandoned her in Vegas. Do you understand how dangerous that was? Dangerous was going live with strangers and calling it freedom. Grace's face reddened, but she had no comeback. Aurora was narrating to her camera in real time, recording a hostile interaction where my friend is trying to salvage her relationship and being met with coldness and aggression. I looked directly at the camera. Keep recording. Make sure you get everything. That's when I nodded at Becca. She pulled out her phone, hands shaking slightly. Becca, what are you doing? Grace's voice had an edge. Showing him the truth, Becca said quietly. I came because I was scared what they'd do if I wasn't here. But I'm not doing this anymore. She handed me the phone. I didn't even look at it. I handed it straight to Cecilia. Read it out loud. I can't. Read the group chat. The one from before Vegas. Read what Grace and Aurora told you to do. Cecilia's face went white. Grace stood up. Becca, you're seriously doing this. After everything we've done for you? You used me as a camera operator while you destroyed Cole's relationship for content. Becca shot back, louder than I'd ever heard her. That's not friendship. That's using people. Aurora kept filming, but her hand was shaking now. This is being taken out of context. Then let's add context, I said. I pulled out my own phone, opened the screenshots Becca had sent me the day before, started reading out loud. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Don't tell him everything. Own your freedom. If he can't handle you being yourself, that's his problem. I looked up. This was planned. All of it. The live, the content, the whole performance. Grace's face was red. You're twisting this. We were supporting our friend in being independent. You were encouraging her to cheat and blame me when there were consequences. That's not... You can't just... Grace was losing it. Her manager voice cracking. Becca, you need to stick to the story. There it was, on camera. Aurora still recording, probably didn't even realize what Grace just said. Stick to the story. Admission that there was a manufactured narrative. Becca stood up. There is no story, Grace. There's what happened. You pushed Cecilia to do it, Aurora filmed it, and when Cole called it out, you tried to make him the villain. I'm done being part of that. You're done? Grace's voice went sharp. You're nothing without us. We brought you into everything, included you when no one else wanted you around. And this is how you repay that? The mask was fully off now. Aurora finally lowered her phone, realizing she'd been recording her own group's implosion. Cecilia was still sitting there holding Becca's phone, staring at the messages like she was seeing them for the first time. Maybe she was. Maybe she'd been so caught up in the hype she hadn't realized how calculated it all was. I'm keeping the recording, Aurora said quietly, like she was declaring something important. Good, I said. Keep all of it. Post it if you want. Doesn't change anything. I stood up. Cecilia, your stuff is at your parents' house. I've got all this documented, but I'm not calling the cops today. You're not welcome here anymore, any of you. If you come back, I'll file for harassment. Cole, wait, Cecilia started. We're done. Accept it and move on. I walked to the elevator and pressed the button. Heard Grace behind me starting to argue with Becca, Aurora saying something about editing the footage, Cecilia crying. The elevator doors opened and I stepped in. The last thing I saw before they closed was the four of them fracturing in real time, the alliance dissolving now that their target had refused to engage. Got to my apartment and just stood in the doorway for a minute. It was over. The boxes were gone. The confrontation was done. The relationship was dead. Just had to wait for everything to finish falling apart. Didn't have to wait long. That night around 11 p.m., my Ring camera started sending alerts. I opened the app and there they were. Cecilia, Grace, and Aurora. All three clearly drunk, stumbling slightly, Grace pounding on the door. Cole, open up. We're not leaving until you come out here and explain yourself. More pounding. Cecilia leaning against the doorframe crying. Aurora filming, still turning humiliation into content. I watched through the camera, sitting on my couch in the dark, making no move toward the door. This is ridiculous, Grace's voice getting louder. You can't just hide in there. Bang, bang, bang. Someone in the hallway opened their door. Older guy in a bathrobe. Hey, keep it down. People are trying to sleep. Mind your business, Grace snapped. I'm calling the super. The super arrived 10 minutes later, clearly annoyed. Explained that I was inside and had requested they not be allowed access. Grace tried to manager talk him. Aurora waved her phone around, saying they were documenting harassment. Ladies, you need to leave or I'm calling the police. Grace kept arguing. The super pulled out his phone. Last chance. They left, but not before Grace shouted at my door one more time. You're going to regret this! I watched them stumble toward the elevator. Aurora still filming. The neighbor who'd complained had filmed the whole thing on his phone too. I saw it on the building group chat the next morning. 15 messages, all roasting the drunk girls who'd caused a scene at midnight. No one mentioned my name, but everyone knew. The chaos left its own paper trail. I sent the super a text. If anyone from that group shows up again, call security first. Don't call me. Then I sent one message to Cecilia's number. Do not come here again. Blocked her immediately after. Done. 2 months went by. I focused on work, got back into my workout routine, reconnected with friends I'd lost track of during the relationship, started seeing this woman River from the gym, nothing serious yet but easy and honest. Life moved forward. The fallout was swift. In a small city, that lobby clip traveled fast. Group chats, friend circles, local networks. Aurora's recording backfired when people saw Grace's stick to the storyline. Grace lost event clients. It started with one cancellation, then another. Aurora's healing content got roasted. Becca went to therapy. Cecilia went quiet for 3 weeks, then started posting single girl content, captions about narcissists, never mentioned Vegas, never took accountability. Then, one Thursday night a few weeks later, everything came back around. Thursday night around 9 p.m., my Ring camera alerted again. I pulled up the app expecting maybe a package delivery. Instead, it was Cecilia. Alone this time, no entourage. Dressed up, hair and makeup done, holding a box of those expensive chocolates from that boutique I used to like. She knocked softly, not pounding like last time, just a gentle knock. Waited. Knocked again. I watched her through the camera for a minute. She looked nervous, kept checking her reflection in her phone screen, adjusting her hair. Then she looked directly at the camera. Cole, I know you can see me. Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I walked to the door, but didn't open it. Spoke through it instead. There's nothing to talk about. Please, her voice cracked. I brought your favorite chocolates. I just want to show you I'm serious about this. About us trying again. There is no us. There could be. She was crying now. I've been thinking about what we had. About our future. I talked to my parents. They think if we went to couples therapy, we could fix this. And I've been thinking, maybe we should just get married. Skip the engagement, just do it. Start fresh. I almost laughed. Marriage doesn't cure character. What? You think a wedding fixes what you did? That's not how it works. I made one mistake. One mistake in 4 years. Doesn't that count for something? It wasn't one mistake. You planned it. You chose it. You celebrated it. Then you blamed me for having boundaries. Through the camera, I watched her face crumble. She set the chocolates down in front of the door. So that's it? You won't even try? There's nothing to try for. You're going to regret this. When you realize what you gave up, I'm not giving anything up. I'm choosing myself. Silence. Then, can you at least open the door? Look me in the eye when you say that? No. I watched her stand there for another minute, waiting for me to change my mind. When the door stayed closed, she picked up the chocolates, set them back down, picked them up again. Finally, just left them there and walked away. I watched through the camera until she disappeared down the hallway. The chocolates sat there for an hour before I opened the door, picked them up, and dropped them in the trash chute. Not out of spite, just didn't need them. Friday morning, Patricia called. Cecilia tried to see you last night. Yeah, she wanted to get back together. Brought up marriage. Patricia sighed. She called me after. Said you wouldn't even open the door. I didn't. Good. Robert and I wanted you to know we're done enabling her. We paid for therapy, but we're not paying her rent or bailing her out anymore. She needs to face what she did. I appreciate that. You were good to her, Cole. Better than she deserved. We said goodbye. I sat there thinking about how a life can collapse into something as small as a closed door and a box of chocolates in the trash. Saturday afternoon, I was at River's place when my phone buzzed. Message from Aurora. You were right about Grace, with a screenshot of some DM where Grace was talking about fixing things once I got lonely enough. I deleted it without responding. Their drama wasn't my problem anymore. Sunday, River came over to my place. We ordered food, watched a movie, fell asleep on the couch. When I woke up later, she was making coffee, smiled when she saw me. I thought about Cecilia one last time, about Vegas and the live and everything that came after, about the doorstep and the closed door. Then I let it go, not with anger or some statement, just let it drift away, making room for what came next. Staying calm kept me from doing something stupid. Cecilia panicked and scrambled. I stayed disciplined, drew my lines, and watched it all fall apart. Sometimes the strongest move is refusing to play. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.